This is Module 6, Lesson 3. For this first part, number 1, I'm going to help you go through and figure out how to label your grid here, and then you'll do the following problems. For number 1, it says, for part A, construct a y-axis that passes through points Y and Z. So I have to find points Y and Z on this chart. I can see here's Y and here's Z. Y-axis we know goes up and down, or in other words you could say vertically. So we know that that goes up and down or vertical. So we're going to construct a line connecting through point Y and point Z. So there we go. We're done. Part B says, construct a perpendicular. Perpendicular, remember, meant a 90-degree angle. We're going to go through the opposite way for the x-axis that passes through points Z and X. So here's Z, here's X. That means that I'm going to take my line and I'm going to connect it to X. There we go. Now, we've got part A and B done. We've done our X and Y axis. Part C says label the origin as 0. If you're still unfamiliar with what the word origin means this corner down here. This is 0.00, you'll see it as, or origin. It could be called either one, origin or 0, 0, because this is where it's beginning, okay? So we're going to draw in, I'm just going to write, label origin as 0, so I'm just going to put 0 here, okay? Then it says the y-coordinate of W is 2 3/5. We need to find the W. Here's W here. That means that right there it is 2 3/5. All right, so I'm just going to put right here for W, that's 2 3/5. That's that dot. What that tells us is that every single marking then, we look at the denominator, it's 5, right? Every marking is going to be a fifth. So this is 2 2/5, 2 1/5, 2, just 2 here. So right here is 2. And then if we go up here from 2 3/5, that's 2 4/5. 2 5/5 is actually what? 3, because 5/5 is another whole. So this is technically 3 right here. All right. Then if we go down, this would be 2 4/5, 2 3/5, 2 2/5, 2 1/5, and then 1. So right here on this line is 1. And then it's 4/5, 3/5, 2/5, 1/5, right? And I'll just do, just so we can see right here, 1/5. Okay. Now, we're done with the y-coordinate. If you want, you can go through and you can do every single line, so I can show you like it's 1 1/5, 1 2/5. I should move these over so you can see them a little clearer here. And then this one here is 1 3/5 and 1 4/5. So do you get the point? Because then we go to 1 5/5 is actually 2 there. So every single one just goes up by 1/5. For part E, it says the x-coordinate of V is 2 2/5. Well, here's the x-coordinate. Here's V. V is 2 2/5. So I'm just going to write here 2 2/5. Now we need to figure out everything else, right? So if we know this is 2 2/5, this is 2 3/5, 2 4/5, 2 5/5 is actually 3. And then 3 1/5, 3 2/5. If we go down, it's 2 and 1/5, and then it's just 2, and then it's 1 and 4/5, because remember this is 1 and 5/5, if you want to think of it that way so you can know how to count down. And then it's 1 and 4/5, 1 and 3/5, 1 and 2/5, 1 and 1/5, and then 1. Did I do that right? Hang on. Sorry, let's see. Hang on. Let me check that again. 2. And then 1 and 4/5, 1 and 3/5, 2/5, 1/5, 1. So then 2 and 1/5, 2 and 2/5, 2 and 3/5, 2 and 4/5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're even. Now, and then if you go down, this would be 4/5, 3/5, 2/5, 1/5. Okay, once again, we can see that it is the same for both the x and the y axis, that both are counting by fifths. It goes by fifths here, and this one goes by fifths across the x axis. Your job now for the following is to find out the coordinates for all the letters. I just gave you part of the grid, okay? You need to now find out all of these coordinates. Remember, when you find the coordinates for each letter, you go across first, across the x-axis, and then you go up. So to find, let's say U, I'm going to go across. If this is 1/5, 2/5, this would be 3/5 here. So 3/5 is my x-axis, and then I have to go up 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. So once again, 3/5. So U is actually at 3/5 and 3/5. So that one, it has the same x and y coordinate. For S, you go across, you see that there's 1, and you go up, and it's right after 1/5, so that becomes what? 2/5. So it's 1, comma, 2/5 for the S coordinate. So going down, your job is to do just a few of the problems here. Okay, so these are the only problems that you have to do today. Number 2, you have to do A, B, D, E, F, G, and I. They're just asking for different coordinates. A says identify all the points that have a y coordinate of 1 and 3/5. Okay, a y coordinate of 1 and 3/5. That means we're looking at right here on the y coordinate. 1 and 3/5 is right here. So then we go across this line and we see what letters all fall across 1 and 3/5. How many? And write down those letters. B says identify all the points that have an x coordinate of 2 and 1/5. Now we go across the x coordinate, and here's 2 and 1/5 right here. What letters all fall along 2 and 1/5? Write in those letters. D, which point is located at 1 and 1/5 units from the y-axis? Okay, this one's tough. 1 and 1/5 units from the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. That means that you need to be 1 and 1/5 away from it. So we're looking to the x coordinate here, or the x-axis, and we're looking for 1 and 1/5, which is right here. Which letters are 1 and 1/5 away from the y-axis? Which one do you see on that line? Which letter? E, which point is located 2/5 along the x-axis? 2/5 along the x-axis. Well, here's 2/5. Which letters are found at the 2/5 x-axis? F, give the coordinate pair for each of the following points. And same with G. F is going to tell us the letter, and you need to give the x and the y coordinate. Remember, you go over and then up to find the coordinates. And G is just, they give you the coordinates, and now you need to say what letter is found there. So you're just doing the opposite. And then I, what is the name for the point on the plane where the two axes intersect. The name for the point on the plane where two axes intersect. Remember, I said there's two names that you can call it. It's zero. So what is the word that means zero? Think about that. Zero, and it's also called the what? That's where they intersect, where X and Y intersect and they come to a point. Look back at my graph up there and see what that was called. And then it says give the coordinates for this point. I almost just gave you the answer there. It's going to be a very simple number for both the X and the Y. If you have any questions, please email me, but otherwise you should be all set. Have a great day.